Hello and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a really powerful philosophy for raising strong, resilient human beings. It's an idea that's rooted in some pretty ancient wisdom, and it focuses not just on educating the mind, but on something much, much deeper. So let's just start with this. Think about that statement. We spend so much time and energy educating the mind, right? But this idea suggests there's a whole different kind of learning that happens in the heart, a fundamental kind that maybe we've neglected a little bit. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at that difference between learning in the mind and learning in the heart. Then, we'll get into the circle of courage and its four key parts: belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. And finally, we'll tie it all together to see how it creates what's known as the resiliency code. Right, so let's tackle this first big idea. We all get it, you need a formal education to make your way in this complex world. But there's another kind of education that's every bit as vital. What's so fascinating here is the how. I can teach your mind a fact just by telling you, but teaching the heart, that's different. That's about building inner strength and character, and it only comes from lived experience. It's all about how you are treated, not just what you're told. For instance, I can tell a kid they're valued all day long, but they'll only truly learn it in their heart when they feel valued because of my actions. So, the big question is, how do we actually provide those essential heart-learning experiences? Well, that brings us to a time-tested framework for doing exactly that, the circle of courage. It turns out, after decades of research, that every single one of us is driven by four fundamental needs. We all have this deep-down need to feel significant, to be capable, to feel powerful on the inside, and to believe that we are genuinely good. And these aren't just, nice-to-haves. They're the essential building blocks for a strong human being. So the very first principle is belonging. This one hits that need to be significant head on. It's that core human feeling of knowing you matter, that you have a place, whether it's in a family, with friends, or in a community. Without it, we just feel lost. Next up is mastery, and this is all about our need to be capable. It's that incredible feeling when you discover what you can do, right? It doesn't matter if it's learning to ride a bike or solving some complex puzzle. It's that I did it moment that builds real self-trust. Then you've got independence. And this one's interesting. It's not about being alone. It's about feeling powerful on the inside. It's the kind of strength that comes from taking responsibility for your own actions, for your own life, really, for being the author of your own story. And finally, we land on generosity. This is how we confirm our own goodness. Think about it. By contributing to others, by making a positive difference, we get to see our own value reflected right back at us. This circle, this is the code. All right, let's really dig into these principles. And we have to start with what is arguably the most fundamental human experience of them all: belonging. This need isn't something we learn. We are born with it. You don't have to teach a baby to look for its mom in a room full of strangers. You don't have to convince a teenager that having friends is a good idea. It's just a primal, instinctual drive. And this slide right here brilliantly shows how we so often get it completely wrong. When a young person is in crisis, what are our default responses? Timeouts, suspensions, things that literally create unbelonging. The circle of courage flips that script. It teaches that when someone is struggling, that is the exact moment to pull them in closer, to surround them with connection and reinforce that they belong. So from that solid foundation of belonging, we can start to explore the next principle: mastery. This is all about tapping into that universal built-in drive we all have to succeed. Just think about it for a second. This drive is with us our entire lives. You've got the toddler who is fighting to tie their own shoes, the teenager who wants to handle their own problems, even an elder in a care home who insists on their autonomy. That phrase, "let me do it myself," that's the sound of the human spirit pushing for competence. So, here's the crucial takeaway. Mastery isn't just about the final product or, checking a box. It's about the process of discovery. It is that light bulb moment when a person realizes, wow, I can actually do this. That discovery builds a kind of inner strength that stays with you for life. Okay, now let's look at the final two pillars of the circle, and they're deeply connected: independence and generosity. You could say one gives us internal power, and the other gives that power a purpose. I love this reframing of independence. The goal isn't control, It's empowerment. An adult's job isn't to be a permanent boss, but to be a coach, to guide and support a young person until they become so strong and capable that they don't need you in that same way anymore. I mean, that is real success. Now, to really wrap your head around generosity, you have to look at the potlatch tradition. In this ceremony, a whole community works to accumulate wealth, food, goods, everything they can get their hands on, for the single purpose of giving it all away. It is just a profound, powerful example of a culture built around the value of giving. And this gets right to the heart of what makes generosity so powerful. You know, giving away something you don't need is one thing. It's easy. But true generosity, the kind that changes you, requires a meaningful sacrifice. It has to cost you something, your time, your energy, your resources. Because it's in that act of giving something that's truly valuable that you prove your own goodness to yourself. So what happens when you weave all four of these principles together? Belonging, mastery, independence, generosity? Well, you get something incredibly powerful, a code for building resilience. So this is really the ultimate takeaway here. The Circle of Courage isn't just some nice philosophy. It is a practical code. Why? Because when you feel you belong, you feel secure. When you achieve mastery, you're confident. When you're independent, you feel in control. And when you're generous, you have a purpose. All of those together, they forge an unshakable inner strength. And let's be really clear about what resilience actually is. It is not about creating a life that's free of problems. That's just impossible. Everyone gets knocked down. Resilience, the kind of strength built by this code, is simply the ability to get up one more time than you fall. So, as we finish up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. Look at these four pillars. Which one, if you really focused on it, could bring more strength and resilience not just to others, but to your own life, starting today?